Hey, what's going on everyone? This is Mike Kollin at MikeKollin.com. Okay, it is absolutely beautiful out here in California today. Where I live, it's about 88 degrees up north, and inland it's probably about 98 degrees to about 100. The name of the song by Punch Deck is called Flow State. And today we're going to talk about flow. So most people, when they hear words like, be in the flow meditation or be in the flow state, they think in terms of calming down, going slow, almost to complete stop, like meditation. But being in the flow state can be extremely exciting. In fact, it is. I'm going to give you an example right now. Okay, so when I first got into boxing when I was an amateur, and I have shared this in the last probably 12 months, probably twice. So I struggled in practice and I struggled in my first couple matches. It was I was tight. I was throwing a punch was slow. It was kind of herky-jerky. It wasn't natural. I wasn't doing very well. Now, one of the reasons I had some coaches who they absolutely did not understand how to loosen up in flow state. In fact, what they were telling me to do was the complete opposite. They were like, hold your hands up, hold them tight to your body, and like everything they taught me was just like it restricted me. So a long time ago, they taught young boxers was to hold your elbows in and your gloves like right to your cheeks, so if the guy tried to punch you, he hit your gloves or your arms instead of you. And it really was not a very effective way to compete. And I noticed I was really frustrated in my first couple matches because it was like I knew I was better than that. And even though I actually won, I only lost my first match by 1 point from the former state champion. But I knew I was a lot better than that. And the next fight, the coach, keep your hands up, and okay, and but it was about, I don't remember if it was the third, fourth, or fifth fight, but eventually there was a fight where I was doing pretty good, and then my coach said, pull your hands in, arms in and gloves to your cheeks. And I kind of was like, I wasn't conscious of this, but part of me was like, but I'm winning. I'm doing really good the way I'm fighting. And so I did what he said, and this guy just starts popping me, and I'm like, and I just got frustrated. Now there's two different matches. One was in boxing and one was in kickboxing. Because in kickboxing, it was kind of like starting all over again. The coaches were saying the same thing. And I did the same thing there. So I know I said that story. So essentially what happened was I was winning, and then when he made me cover up again, like the guy's popping me around, I'm like, okay, I'm going to lose if I keep fighting this way. And I got kind of frustrated. I got mad, and I don't know if I said this inside, but it was kind of like, F this, I'm done. And I just like let it go. I just like started snapping my jab, snap, move, overhand right. And I just started moving and flowing. So now I'm popping this guy around, and I was moving to the right, overhand right, moving to the right, stiff jab, and I was just in the flow state. I was just going. I just completely let go. Now at the time, my coaches were yelling at me, put your hands up, what are you doing? And I'm thinking, F that, I'm fucking winning. And sure enough, I got knocked down. Nah, I'm just kidding, I didn't. So long story short, I dominated this guy in that round, and I came back to my corner, and my coaches were like, they were excited, but they were kind of pissed, and they were kind of confused. And I kind of didn't care. I'm going to fight the way that works for me, and that was the way that worked. And that's the way I fought from that point forward, and I went undefeated until I went to the Midwest Nationals about a year and a quarter later, year and a half later, something like that. And that's when I lost my first match by 1 point. So what's my point/purpose in sharing this with you? A lot of people just assume the flow state only applies to meditation or calming down. Think of the flow state like this. It's kind of like a car. You got the gas pedal and you got the brakes. Now some people, they always tell you, like, look, only use your right foot. Well, it depends on what country you live in, but in America it's the right foot for the gas pedal and the brake. You don't use both because it'll make it really herky-jerky. So a lot of people, they drive their life around with the left foot on the brake and the right foot on the gas, and it's herky-jerky, and you don't go very fast, and you're wearing out the brakes, and it's just not very effective. So think of the flow state as taking off the brakes and going for it. Now, getting into the flow state when you meditate, that's one thing, but get into that same state of mind, that same emotional calmness and clarity inside while you're in a boxing match, a kickboxing match, playing football in a championship game, even a fighter jet in the middle of combat, because that's how you're most effective. I had a couple of football games when I was a running back, and it was like a spiritual experience. It was like I would get the ball, and I would run towards the hole, and then I would know to hit the guy, spin to the right, and I knew, even though I'm backwards, another guy was coming in from the corner, and as I was spinning back around, I'd hit him head on, then I'd spin inwards, hit that guy, and then spin out, and then run up for another 10, 15, 20 yards, or sometimes even a touchdown. That's called being in the zone. The flow state. Meditation. Clarity. And the way you get there is by completely and totally letting go. And then going for it 100%. It could be raising children. It could be having a conversation. It could be in the middle of an argument. Again, it's just like surfing, boogie boarding, body surfing. You find this balance, this edge, and you ride that edge all the way in. See, when you're focused on being successful, on doing things right, you tend to do them right a lot more often. Whereas when you're focused on, I shouldn't do this, I shouldn't do that, like hit the brakes, stop, go slow, be careful, that's when you tend to make a lot of mistakes and you tend to screw up. You cannot do that when you're going fast, when you're in a fast, dangerous competition, when you're riding a wave. You can't think of all the mistakes. You got to focus on what to do at that very moment, and that is riding the edge. You got to be in the moment and you got to feel it. You can't think. The moment you start to think about what you're supposed to do physically, you just disconnected. Not only do you perform a lot better at whatever it is you're doing, you feel a lot better too. And guess what I teach guys when it comes to dating and relationships? Yep, finding that flow state. There's a series of steps and techniques and ways to learn how to access this space. And the more you access it, the easier it is to get there. I so wish I could go back and learn these techniques before high school so I could apply them to sports from that point after. But somehow after a period of time, luckily I started competing in boxing when I was 9 years old. So I had access to state of mind, this way of being for quite a while, about a good year and a quarter. And then we moved and I started new sports, so I kind of lost it, and then I had to find it again. And about 10th grade I found it again in football when I was a running back. Essentially what happened was, it was only my second year in football, and I played only on the defensive side my freshman year. My sophomore year, I started out the same way, but we had moved to a different high school. And the coach goes, "What do you play?" I'm like, "Oh, I was a middle linebacker in freshman." Like, "Okay, well, you're a middle linebacker now." I was like, "Oh, okay." And I really didn't understand football. I just understood the basics. Like, you're the defense, whoever. And this is what a coach said, because one day in the middle of the game, I was like, I don't even know what the hell I'm supposed to do. He goes, look, you're the middle linebacker. You go ball. I'm like, what's that mean? He goes, whoever has the ball, you go get them. That one really basic concept, it kind of cleared everything out. And from that point on, I could build off of that. So just as I was beginning to get into the zone with middle linebacker, one of our running backs got hurt. The other one had just gotten kicked off the team for being disrespectful to the coach, and he was like the starting running, like that was the man. And then the second stringer got hurt, so now we had third, fourth, and fifth string, and they sucked. So here we are. I believe it was the first game of league. So you have like 3 preseason games, and then you have like some on the weekend you meet with a bunch of other teams at these facilities where there's like 15, 20 teams. You kind of scrimmage all day long. And so we had played before the season for about 4 or 5 weeks, and here we are. We just finished our first game, league game, whereas you have 3 preseason games, and I played middle linebacker the whole time, and all of a sudden the coach comes in the locker room and says, hey man, this is for you. I'm like, what's this? He goes, it's the offensive playbook. I'm like, for what? He said, so-and-so's out, so you're our starting running back. I'm like, coach, I had never been a running back before. I don't even know how to play running back. I don't know any of the plays. He goes, yeah, you're going to have to memorize the basic package by next week Friday. I'm like, for what? He goes, you're our starting running back. And I said, there is no way I'm going to learn the basic package by next Friday. He goes, you have to. I'm going to go to the principal and I'm going to go to your teachers and explain that you're not going to do any homework or class. You're going to go to class and you're going to go through your playbook all day long. And then at practice, we're going to show you plays. And when you get home at night after dinner, you're going to set books out like they're the offensive line, and you're going to run plays till freaking 9 o'clock at night. And that's exactly what I did. Come Friday night, kickoff. I'm the kickoff return. I received the ball, ran 30, 40 yards, got tackled, had to go back out for the offense. And what happened was the first play was to me, and I'm looking at the coach like, are you kidding? Because I figured for the first game I was basically going to block for the quarterback. So the first play through the line, and what happened was he called the play, and I'm looking at the quarterback. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? He goes, you're supposed to take a step to the right, and you're going to dive through the 2-hole. I'm like, okay. Now, he's telling me this after he called the play, and he's like, ready, break. So as we're walking up to the line, he's telling me what to do. Now, one of the basic things that I had to remember was, okay, if you're going on the right side, you lift your left arm up to get the handoff. If you go to the left side, you got to raise your right hand up. So there's all these little technicalities that a lot of people don't know. Like even the step right, step this, step that, then go to the hole. And sometimes you got to hesitate. He was literally telling me step by step what to do as we were walking up to the line of scrimmage. Now here's the deal. I had no time to even think about the breaks. Because it's such an intense game where guys tackle you, they hit you with a hard helmet, you get bruised, sprain your ankles, break your ribs, break bones, get concussions. It's a dangerous, very painful sport. And if you hesitate, you get hurt bad. Now here's the deal. Because of that, there's generally a fear factor for most people while they're playing the game. I didn't have time for that. All I had, he called the play, on two, ready, break. As we're walking up, I'm like, okay, so what am I supposed to do? And he would be telling me as we're walking up to the line of scrimmage. So I had no time to think about anything other than what I was supposed to do. Focus on what you want, because you get what you focus on. Now, I didn't understand the offense. I didn't understand offensive strategy. I didn't understand offensive schemes. I didn't understand anything. All I knew is I took one play at a time. By the way, does that sound familiar? Take it one step at a time, one day at a time. So as we're walking up the line, he tells me what to do. I'm getting in position. He starts calling the play out. He starts saying, up 1, up 2, boom. Ball's hiked, and I'm going. Now, when I say going, I mean I put my foot on the pedal, and I was going full blast, full speed ahead. There's only one essential thing that the coach told me. He goes, look, Your job is to get that ball across the goal line to score a touchdown. Because I remember telling the coach, like, Coach, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I don't understand the offensive scheme. I don't understand strategy. I don't even know the game very well. And he goes, look, your job is to get the ball and get across that goal line. Somehow, some way, you get across the goal line. And boom, there it was again, just like when I was a middle linebacker. Your job is to go ball. Same thing the coach was saying, essentially saying, your job, get across that line. And believe it or not, I was like, oh, okay. Everything cleared up. All it was, I took a step this way or that way, had to lift the right or left arm, get the ball, and go to daylight. And that's another thing he said. He goes, you go to daylight. And I go, but what if there isn't? Now, daylight is where there's no players, so they can't tackle you. So if there's nobody to the left, go to the left and go up towards the goal line. If it's nobody to the right, go to the right. And then I said, well, what if there is no daylight? What if there's someone right in the middle of the hole? He goes, run them over. Believe it or not, but I scored 3 touchdowns my first game. And I got over 125 yards. Now in football, that's very, very good. So the next week they threw a bunch of 10 new running back plays at me. And I'm looking at the coaches like, I don't even have the basic package memorized yet. He goes, too bad. Take this home and work on it at night when you get home after practice. Every freaking day, put your books down in formation and run through the holes. And that next week in practice, I was learning like the very basics of how to be a running back, the basic steps. This is for someone who's never played football before, and here I was learning the very, very basics where like you're not even ready to play, and yet they were throwing me in there. So here I am, the next game, and quarterback calls a play, on two, ready, break. We're walking up. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Because you're supposed to take 2 steps to the right, hesitate for a split second, and dive through the 2 hole, dive through this hole, dive through that hole. I was like, okay, and then from that point forward, all it was is go to daylight, get this ball across that line, or run someone over. Very simple, very few options. Now here's the beauty of it. People that are perfectionists don't do very good at all. Let me think. No, there's no time to think. There is no time to think. It's all action and reaction, just like this. Because I had to take one step at a time, one play at a time. It wasn't only that, but the minute the ball was put in my hands, I looked up and then I began to scan the field. This is while I'm sprinting forward. And I'm looking at the field, and boom, some guy's crashing in, hits me on my right shoulder, so I flip and spin around to the left, and I run up. So as I'm running through the hole, I'm noticing to the left there's daylight, but oh shit, this guy's crashing in, he's hitting me hard, and I'm spinning off of him, I'm bouncing off his impact and spinning around to the left at the same time, and already moving in the direction of daylight. That's called being in the zone. I've got to tell you, there were times when other coaches, running backs, other players would be like, how did you know to spin off? There was one play literally, I ran through the hole, I hit one guy, spun 100 or 360 degrees to the right, and then hit the next guy, being ready for impact, and then spinning 360 degrees the other way, and then hitting the next guy, spinning 360 degrees the other way, and then just running full speed to score a touchdown. I'm like, how did you even see those guys coming? I'm like, I don't know how to explain it, but I could see it in my mind. The night before, I would have dreams of these exact same plays, exact same position on the field, exact same people hitting me from the same angles. It was like I dreamed it before it happened. You got to understand it. When we watched it on film the next morning, the coach's like, how did you even know to do that? I'm like, I don't know, I could just feel it. And the coach's like, what do you mean you could feel it? What I'm suggesting, or not even suggesting, but stating is, it beyond a shadow of a doubt was a spiritual experience. There's no two ways about it. It's like I knew what was coming before the play even started. Even during the play, when we were going 100 miles an hour, just as fast as we could, I could see things unfolding before they unfolded. One of the things a lot of people don't know about sports, especially guys who play tough sports like that, they think, oh, you're just a bunch of dumb jocks. No, for some of us, it's an extremely spiritual experience. It causes a lot of people, a lot of men, to become very, very spiritual. Get into the flow state. Now here's the deal. One thing I want to say about that is the same flow state, when you master, and I don't even know if I want to say master meditation, it's just a matter of making a commitment for 2 or 3 months, you will find this space of nothingness. No thought, nothing. This is the same state that some athletes access during intense sports. In fact, that is the pinnacle of sports. It's the same thing when you're a businessman, when you're at a very high level, very intense, you're focused, you're in the zone, and you're just going for it. This applies to anything. It applies to everything. You find that edge and you learn how to ride it. I don't care if you're a chef, if you're a cook, if you're a business owner, if you're a corporate manager or CEO, like that's what makes you excellent. It's being able to access the calm beneath the storm. In other words, on the outside, just let's say during football, you are getting hit, you're getting tackled, and yet inside there is this absolute clarity. And again, this applies to all areas. If you're looking for coaching on how to find the zone, on how to access the zone, again, it's the series of techniques on learning how to be internal and emotionally grounded. Coaching session, classes, and courses available. Hey, this is Mike Kollin at MikeKollin.com. Remember, click subscribe, click the like button, go ahead and make a comment. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye. And remember, as usual, there's a PayPal donation link right there in the description box if you want to make a donation. And I'll let the rest of the video just be this music. Enjoy.